on 5:31 PI.
It is 16 minutes past 7 o'clock for Thursday the 5th of June. I'm William Terite in the chair with you through until 9am. Brilliant to have your company. Right. Now, in case you missed it, two polls came out this week with two very different stories. The TVNZ poll suggested that the coalition would have enough power to basically win if an election were to be held today. Meanwhile, the Reid Research poll by RNZ suggests that the left bloc would have the power to win. So, does this suggest that we shouldn't be reading too much into polls? I'm sure the politicians would be arguing that. Joining me now to discuss that is Labour MP Tangi Utikere. Very good morning to you. Welcome in.
God on the world, good to be with you and the team today.
What do you make of these polls, eh? I mean, look, regardless of the different results, Labour's still not quite where I thought you guys would be, given just how badly the coalition gets itself into bad headlines.
I think what it proves is that polls can be very volatile, and everyone will say, well, you take polls with a grain of salt, and the only one that matters is the one on election day. But let's also remember that the budget day is all about the government, and what you would expect from post-budget over the last week and a half or thereabouts are good stories that the government is able to capitalise on. We're not seeing that. We're seeing actually the reality that this is a budget, as my colleague, the Honourable Jenny Salesa said on the programme last week, that has been paid for by working women. The reality is this budget was paid for by pay equity, money that was set aside, just under $13 billion. And our Pasifika women were a key part of that as well. So, yeah, the polls do tell different stories. One day it says one thing, another day, the very next day, actually, it says another. What it means is we can't take any vote for granted. We need to continue to work hard and engage with our communities.
I suppose what I'm asking, is Labour going hard enough to be in the headlines to slam the coalition for arguably, there's many opportunities for Labour to slam the government as of late. Am I wrong?
There are plenty of opportunities that come out of this government's decisions, which seem to be terrible for our community. But I go back to the point that post-budget, the last week and a half, is really focused on the budget for the government. What we've been doing is we've been engaging with communities, talking about what this means for them. If we look at our Pacific community, millions of dollars have been stripped away in terms of funding, including addressing the Dawn Raids apology that Jenny was able to talk to last week. Now, the government like to trumpet the fact that they provided $250,000 for Pacific wardens to work in our community around the country. That pales in significant insignificance to the millions of dollars that have been cut. So it is about engaging with the community, sharing those messages, and ensuring that we continue to fight. We're not taking anything for granted. It does prove that we do need to be out in the community. We need to be engaging and doing what we can. Also, at the same time, holding the government accountable.
Where are Labour's new policies, or where are we seeing tangible conversations around things as, perhaps progressive as a more aggressive tax system, that kind of stuff? Where is the tangible stuff that you want to see from Labour?
Those conversations in terms of what policy will be are being worked through. And this year we will have a couple of policy announcements, and then all of the policy will be announced next year. That is not unusual. That is usually what happens. I think that the point that some members of the community are saying, well, where are the policies, really is a point to the bad taste that the government is leaving in people's minds, in people's mouths at the moment. There have been some decisions that have been taken. When I think about, for example, my own portfolios of transport and local government and transport, we've been very clear that we're not going to be wishy-washy. We're not going to come in and just cancel a whole pile of big infrastructure projects that will have been committed to by the government. Yeah. That is a policy direction. In the area of local government, we've said that we're not in the game of expecting councils to have unfunded mandates, which is basically expecting them to do things without the money following through. So that is a policy direction as well. So there are these things that are happening, but those big policy announcements will be made well in advance of the election next year.
Right. With that in mind, though, why is it... I understand the need for some soul-searching, particularly after that last election result. But when genuinely can, Kiwis start to see some real hard decisions and policy being made by Labour? Because I feel like if, you don't want to leave it too late, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and everything will be released well in advance of the election, so that we'll go into the election, everyone will know where we stand, what our intentions are on those sorts of things. And our leader, Chris Hipkins, has been very clear around that. But having said that, this year we will also see, a couple of policies that will be announced, and that will signal to the country and the community where we are on a number of matters. So yes, I get that there might be some frustration around this, but this is not unusual. There's still 18 months to go to the general election that's scheduled. And so we have a process that we need to work through. We spent the first 12 months listening. We've done that. We're still engaging. But there are still those decisions that have been taken in other areas when it comes to pay equity, for example. We've been very clear that it would be our desire, our want, our direction to basically address that where the government has basically pulled the rug out from under working women.
How can you ensure, just based off these poll results, how can you ensure that, Labour does not fall in the trap of becoming national light?
Well, I think it's important that, I'm in the Labour Party because of the values that are important to me and the values that the Labour Party holds. So in everything that we do, we are looking at the values base for us as individuals, us as a party, us as with our membership as well. And that is what drives our policy direction and all that we do. Now, some people might like to look at that and think, well, they fall somewhere on a continuum. When you are true to your values, you end up with policy that is not only important to you, but the people that you represent and hold dear as well.
Is there not any frustration within caucus that there isn't anything tangible to stand on at the moment for the Labour Party?
Oh, there is absolute unity in our caucus that our focus at the moment is around holding the government to account. As I say, we're only, 2 weeks on from the government's budget, which is an absolute dive of a budget. And so at the moment, our focus is on going through the budget, engaging with the communities, sharing with folk what is actually in there, what is not, what it means for people, and making sure that we do the business. So there is no suggestion that we are not united as a team, because we know that we need to be working together to ensure that this absolutely is a one-term government. This is a regressive government, and what this country needs is something that is a government that inspires hope more than anything else at the moment.
Are you confident that a Chris Hipkins-led government, though, would inspire hope? And the reason I bring it up is I have good old Dame Jacinda Ardern's book, and I'm reading it up on her time, obviously, in office, and she's doing a media circuit at the moment, and she's been applauded by the world for her progressive agenda. But I remember speaking to Carmel Sepuloni just a few weeks back, asking, is the Labour Party of New Zealand shifting to a more centrist position? And she acknowledged that it is, because that's what Kiwis want, apparently. Are you confident you're going to have a hopeful government under Chris Hipkins, or is it going to be too centrist?
I am extremely hopeful, because when we look at what the alternative is at the moment, the stripping out of pay equity opportunities, the basically defunding of our Pacific communities, changes in terms of priority for landlords and tobacco companies rather than those who actually need it. No focus on jobs, no focus on new homes and communities, no focus on healthy communities and what that means for Pasifika people. Absolutely, I am confident, because right now this country is heading in a direction that is not supportive of our communities of interest. And as for the book, I'm delighted. I'm looking forward to reading it. I haven't got a copy yet, but I do know that Jacinda, I entered Parliament when she was our leader, and she had a style of leadership that is, I think, to be acknowledged and celebrated, a connection with people as well. And yes, we've all seen her on the media circuit. I saw her on Oprah. I think it was last night. I saw something on Insta around that. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the read as well.
Yeah, no, I was up until 1:30 reading it. It's definitely a page turner. With that in mind, I mean, Jacinda, she's, like I said, on the world stage, but she remains largely quiet when it comes to affairs, the state of affairs back here in New Zealand at the moment. Are you a bit disappointed that she's not more vocal in her support of, say, Chris Hipkins and the Labour Party?
No, I'm not, because I know she is absolutely supportive of Chris Hipkins and the Labor Party. She worked very closely with Chris. She knows what he is like as a leader, and I also know that her values are deeply aligned to the Labor Party. She talks about that. She references that in many of the media contributions that she has done as a result of launching her book. We've seen that over the last 48 hours or so, including with Oprah. So no, I'm not disappointed. I'm excited by the fact that Jacinda is out there. She's sharing her leadership story, and it is resonating with many people all around the globe.
Look, I'm just trying to poke the bear here, but the conversations that I'm having with people on the ground, particularly here in South Auckland, I mean, questions around Chippy. I mean, again, he's not that flash in the preferred Prime Minister stakes. What on earth is going on? We're not that far off from an election.
Oh, Chippy is doing a great job. He's out there engaging with the community. He engages with our Pacific Caucus. Let's not forget that, in terms of our Pacific Caucus, if you add Te Anau Tuiono to the mix, that's it in terms of Pacifica representation in this Parliament.
Yeah.
Now, yesterday in Parliament, I said that I was really concerned about the budget because it provides nothing for Pacifica communities. And I challenged the government to think about where their Pacific voice is, and then reminded them that there actually was not even a vacant voice. There was no voice in any of the governing parties' caucuses when it comes to a Pacific voice. So he is absolutely out there. He's engaged. He is doing a great job. He's leading our party. He's leading our team, and is really challenging the government about many of the voids that they have, not just in their budget, but just in their general approach to prioritisation and how they're engaging with our community.
Final question for you. And often and this is just a symptom of being in opposition, right, is there's often that perception of that grumpy uncle shouting in the wind, but nothing to show for. What can you say to our audience this morning, Pacific audience this morning, that the Labor Party is there for you, and what's an example of what a Labor government would have done differently in the budget?
Well, I tell you what we would not have done is cut the whole approach to pay equity, just under $13 billion. Those are our plunket workers or nurses. They're our hospice nurses. They're our care and support workers. They're our librarians. They're our cleaners. These are the people, if we look at that demographic and that workforce, our Pacifica women are a huge part of that. This is something that is so detrimental to our Pacific community. So that's one example. The other thing I'd say is that we have a Pacific voice in Parliament. We are, amplifying that. We're engaging with our communities. Continue to talk with us. Continue to meet with us. We get so many invitations. We take them up when we can. Engagement is so important to us. The government don't have a Pacific voice. They have no Pacific view. They're not interested in Pacific communities. We are the alternative. It's important that we're having the conversations.
Thank you very much for your time. See, I'm very passionate about what's going on here in the country at the moment because I want to see some policy. But that's all right. Thank you very much for your time. That is Palmerston North.
Yeah, Manuia.
Cheers. That is Palmerston North MP Tangi Utikere. You're listening to Pacific